Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari alongside Asukwo James.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Indeed. Edo State, that's where we're still going to be. The primaries of the ruling party in Edo State, APC, on the 22nd of June. So that's virtually round the corner. But what isn't a story anymore is that the governor, Obaseki, he has a running battle with the chairman of his party. Now, let's take that as one. He has resigned his membership of the party because of this running battle. He has gone to Aso Rock, told the president through the chief of staff that I'm resigning. Now, that's where we are. He hasn't made up his mind, according to the latest coming from the governor, as to where his next port of call is going to be. Now, all of that is to one side.
Yeah.
After that, the chairman of APC, Adams Oshiomhole himself, with an appeal court panel sitting, say that indeed he shouldn't conduct himself like the chairman of APC, right?
Yes.
Now, the constitution of APC is such that in that kind of a situation, if there's going to be a vacuum, so as to avoid a vacuum, the deputy chairman, deputy national chairman South, that is from his region, will take over. Should that not be possible, then it will go to the deputy national chairman South. So where exactly are we in terms of the headship of the APC right now? What do you hear? Because there are, by the way, in terms of the first option, deputy national chairman South, that's Senator Ajimobi, former governor and Senator Ajimobi. He is rumored. You see, this is why you have to be careful with speculation. He is rumored to be, engrossed in much more important things, namely battling for his life. So the rumor goes. But it's a speculation because I don't see anybody who is ready to confirm.
Yes, exactly. It's speculation because this morning his spokesman actually released a statement.
Yes. Saying what?
Saying that he has affirmed the suspension of Adams Oshiomhole and he has assumed duty as the national chairman, just in line with the party's constitution.
You see why you can't speculate now.
And he's even saying that there should be peace. He has called on all the members to maintain peace and decorum so that the party can move forward. Don't forget they have a huge battle on in Edo as well as Ondo State.
Sure.
So it's better that they go to the battle united.
United. So I just want to hear from you again. Senator Ajimobi, who is now acting chairman, has actually commented. He has spoken.
Yes, through his spokesman.
Through his spokesman. Where is Senator Ajimobi? Do you know, Asukwo?
I don't know. We just know that there are speculation left, right, and center. But the statement we got this morning that filtered into the newsroom is that he has released a statement urging all members to maintain peace and that there will be peace in the party. And not just that, he has also affirmed the suspension, just like the Court of Appeal actually ruled yesterday, that Oshiomhole is no longer the national chairman. Because we know that Oshiomhole will definitely go to the Supreme Court. He will have to take the case to the Supreme Court. But as we speak today, the national chairman of the APC, based and according to their party constitution, is Senator Ajimobi.
The acting.
The acting. Where he is today, I don't know.
Okay.
But he's going to show his face.
So
that this speculation and all that.
So we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves then when we were already looking a bit into the future, saying that should Senator Ajimobi not be in a position to take up the job for whatever reason, we've been talking about speculation, then it would have fallen on National Vice Chairman South Chief Hilary Etta to act in his stead. But that's moving too fast because, as you say, Senator Ajimobi has spoken through his spokesman. Well, I suppose we'll have to take that as good, because even when the governor of Edo State went to see the president, he saw the chief of staff instead, but he still has spoken with the president through the chief of staff. And so Senator Ajimobi has spoken through his spokesman. That indeed. So he started the job. He started carrying on the job.
Exactly. You know, so people, it's going to be, there are interesting times ahead.
Indeed.
Know, so
okay, you know what? Having said that scene, before we come to our guests, and today we'll be, we're glad to have with us Messrs. Libros Oshoma and Wale Ogunade, lawyers both, and they keep an eye on the polity and are interested in election affairs. So we'll be speaking with them. But before then, let's take Ayo Ozubakun, our Ayo Ozubakun's report to sort of set the scene.
Someone who hasn't gone to school.
Immediately after his disqualification as one of the aspirants of the All Progressive Congress, APC, for the September governorship election in Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki said he would not appeal the verdicts of the screening panel.
The issue was in 2016 when I contested.
That decision was a clear message that he intends to continue his fight for the governorship ticket on another platform. The governor who ran against Pastor Eze Yamu of the then People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 2016 will most likely end up swapping places with his old rival.
We want to create employment. We want to help our women and for our youths. We believe you deserve bursary.
While Obaseki may end up as a PDP candidate, Pastor Eze Yamu could become the APC flag bearer.
No one who is aspiring at that level will submit documents that may border on forgery or border on with conflicting information that could possibly lead to disqualification.
Though Eze Yamu has not won the APC governorship tickets, that will be settled in the June 22nd primaries. The PDP has been waiting in the wings for the APC crisis to boil so that it can provide a platform for Governor Obaseki. The PDP scheduled its governorship primaries for the 19th of June. As it stands, there are 4 major aspirants vying for the PDP tickets. Omorige Ogbeibe Ihama, a member of the House of Representatives, Ifaluyi Isibo, a former member of the House of Representatives, Kenneth Emaswegmo, and George Ikine.
Now exist in the state.
Governor Obaseki will need a waiver to run for the PDP ticket as a fresh member, but this might not be a problem. He went to Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, to consult with Governor Nyesom Wike and Akwa Ibom to meet Governor Udom Emmanuel.
No matter how much I would crave his support, I would not want to do anything.
Eze Yamu has already joined the APC with his supporters, and this is believed to have weakened the PDP.
By the grace of God.
In the 2016 election, Governor Obaseki scored 319,483 votes to beat Pastor Eze Yamu, who garnered 353,173 votes. But the PDP has always been a strong party in Edo State, and the party is currently controlling 2 of the 3 senatorial districts of the states.
Do you want us to continue in hunger?
You know, the governorship election slated for 19th of September might not be a walkover for the 2 main parties. Ayodele Ozubakun, TVC News, Lagos.
Okay, thanks to Ayo Ozubakun. But, you know, first of all, talking about PDP there, and then the latest, of course, is that Governor Obaseki is saying he hasn't made up his mind exactly where he is going. So whereas we take all the parameters Ayo put in place there, still, the man, in case that is where you think I was going to go, he hasn't made up his mind yet. Let's look into the resignation of the governor, who, by the way, at one point I heard that some APC authority was saying that they weren't even going to accept his resignation, that he's an asset. Governor, an APC governor is an asset, and so that's not something they're going to let go of, easily. But maybe I'll get ahead of myself. Let's take Ola Awakon's report. Tai Amodu, I beg your pardon. Tai Amodu's report.
It is an announcement long expected. Godwin Obaseki has formally resigned from the All Progressives Congress. The Edo State governor had insisted he would not get justice from the committee set up to screen the credentials of those aspiring to fly the party's flag in the forthcoming Edo governorship elections. The committee did find fault with his certificates and disqualified him. The party insists the rigorous screening process is to prevent the fate it suffered at the Bayelsa governorship election.
There are always two issues that lead to disqualification, even after election. As you saw in Bayelsa, we won the election, but for technical reasons, we lost it at the Supreme Court. So what are the lessons to learn? We have decided, if you look at the composition of the committee, we have very senior lawyers, professors of law. We have various professors who should be familiar with issues of certificates, because those are always the booby traps, whether there are impurities or contradictions or forged documents.
Since then, the Edo governor has been traversing the country, meeting with governors of Rivers and Akwa Ibom states. Many believe it is to pave way for his eventual defection to the People's Democratic Party. But Mr. Obaseki had earlier promised he would not make any decision about his future until he met with President Muhammadu Buhari. That apparently informed his visit to the presidential villa on Tuesday. But Mr. Obaseki did not get to meet with the president and had to settle with meeting with the president's chief of staff.
I don't know if it's good news.
Speaking with State House correspondents afterwards, Mr. Obaseki expressed confidence that in spite of the conspiracy instigated by unqualified persons, he would win a second term in office on the platform on which he would run.
I'm just here today to inform you that I have now decided formally to resign my membership of the All Progressive Congress. Having done that, I will now announce in the next few days my specific line of action and what platform I will be contesting the gubernatorial elections on.
The governor promised to reveal the party he will be defecting to in due course. This now raises the stakes in the Edo governorship elections, with the same gladiators in the polls of 2016, now trading places. Tai Amudu, TVC.
Okay, she was going to say TVC News, but so I just finished it for him. That was our Tai Amudu there. Thank you very much, Tai. Libras, thank you for standing by. You see the lie of the ground. Give me your impressions. As you heard Tai say, same candidates largely as in 2015, but there's a matter of, I remember the marketing slogan from, was it Alaba one time? Trading tackles. Now we're trading places.
Yes, trading places.
What's your read of the lie of the ground in Edo State? You just heard the incumbent governor there saying that he was sure he would achieve his aspiration, whatever platform he chose. APC, of course, says, never worry to its supporters. We won't lose out as a result of his leaving.
Yeah, you see, these it's similar to what happened in 2016. So there's basically no difference, but it's just that what has happened now, it's the strengths are equally matched. Unlike 2016, the PDP, were in opposition in all ramification, and so it was also the APC were at the center. And so it was also, that was also a very strong factor. And so that is why the pendulum at that time, you could say, tilted against the PDPs, strongly. But for this time around, the governor, we all know, we should leave semantics. Even while his deputy was removing the APC flags in his office, they were shouting PDP, PDP, So we all know that they are all moving to PDP. And so now, the moment he makes that announcement, the PDP becomes, the ruling party at the state level, while the APC is at the center. And so it will be a balance of power. And then we'll see how that plays out. And then also, you also talked about the issue of some members of the APC saying that they will not accept the resignation. The resignation takes effect upon the receipt of the person who is addressed to. It is not for him to accept or not. And we also, taking that from Section 308 of the Constitution, we also know that once a governor sends a resignation letter, ordinarily, we're talking about resignation of a governor now, to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, it takes effect. It is not for the Speaker to accept or not. So in that vein, it is not for the party member to accept the resignation. Once the resignation is communicated
to the person it's addressed to. Once it's received, it takes effect. But we'll wait to see how all of this will play out against the Court of Appeal judgment. And I also am aware that hopefully by this morning that the Oshomole camp probably would have filed a notice of appeal and then also application to stay the execution of the judgment. We'll also just watch and see how all of this play out.
Yeah,
but I can tell you that
also,
in this next election.
Also, Libros, as you know, politicians are they tend to be quite nimble on their feet, whereas there was the action that has now resulted in Oshomole being ousted by the panel, the appeal court panel. There was also another action in a different court that had said, let the status quo remain.
Yes, the one in Kano. So what happens to that particular ruling?
There's a superior court now, the Court of Appeal. The court is higher than both the Abuja High Court and the Kano Federal High Court in Kano. And so we wait to hear if the Court of Appeal in Kano will affirm that position of the Federal High Court. As we speak today, once there's a higher court decision, that higher court decision, supersede every other decision of the lower court. That's the position of the law. Okay, so presently, the Court of Appeal decision, supersede every other decision of any lower court at all.
So if the Court of Appeal in Kano now says, okay, Oshomole also is now is still the national chairman, what happens?
Then you have a quagmire. You have a quagmire, two courts of coordinate jurisdiction giving conflicting judgment. And so when that comes, the latter in times will prevail. And then the Supreme Court will have to step in so as not to ridicule that arm of government. But like I said, we wait to see how it plays out. And then the governor had resigned.
I hear you. Sorry to interrupt you, Libros. I hear you. Just a little aside before we get back into the matter. Why, people have criticized the judiciary, saying that it really speaks back to the quality of our democracy. There are those who are saying that the kind of democracy we have is that which is really allowed or is run by the courts. Now, the question I was going to ask is, why do courts allow this kind of a situation? Single person, Adams Oshiomhole, he has an action against him in one court. He goes to another state. He gets them to set up the whole rig for yet another kind of action. And then, thankfully, you've just explained how well the Superior Court, supersedes the other court. But why do courts? Because this information is not secret. Why do courts allow these matters to be entered?
Ordinarily, it's an abuse of processes, abuse of court processes. But that's one big problem that the judiciary also is facing. It starts from the way, these judges are nominated and appointed, and then also with interests. You find a situation where, depending on whose interest is being served here. If you remember, even during June 12th, you hear, one judge granting an interim order to suspend the election, other judges giving conflicting, or depending on the interest that is being served. And so that's why, for our democracy to truly be deepened, we will need an independent judiciary, not just independent by name, but you also need to ensure that the quality of people that are appointed to the bench also have strong quality and independent minds. There are so many sound judges up there, but another problem is there are also, we also cannot rule out the fact that there are so many also that are compromised. And it's sad and unfortunate, when you see this conflicting judgment. Remember also, when PDP was in the eye of the storm, immediately after the 2015 election, you had one court in Abuja and another court in Port Harcourt. The one in Port Harcourt will give a contrary order today, and an Abuja court will give another one tomorrow. And it was so shameful and disgraceful.
Okay, another quick one, Libros.
The Supreme Court resolved all of the issues.
So thank you very much. Another quick one. You lawyers have said to us in different, circumstances and cases that when it is pronounced that, an appeal fails or that kind of a thing, this whole business about everything he did since the action was entered,
Yes.
everything he did is actually, in the eyes of the law, null and void. So if the position
No, that's not true. That's not true. I had cause to. You see, some of the problems that we have also borders on the interpretation of some of these of our colleagues. Some people interpret law from the sentimental position, not minding the position of the law. And then also, you would also blame them. It also depends on their understanding of the position of the law. I've heard some lawyers also argue that point, that everything Oshomole has done in office amounts to a nullity, since the court has said that he's been suspended. But they also forget that there is presumption of regularity in favor of the occupant of that office, since the Court of Appeal in itself, it was the same Court of Appeal in itself that stayed the execution of the judgment of the High Court, FCT High Court. So the moment that judgment was stayed, what that means is that that judgment, as at that time, was not in existence. And so until the Court of Appeal makes a pronouncement, put this judgment aside and go back. What that judgment meant was, the Court of Appeal said, go back to your office, continue your duties, while we look into this judgment, if it should be affirmed or not. And the moment the Court of Appeal stayed that judgment, every decision that was taken by Oshomole is presumed to be regular until the Court of Appeal made a contrary decision. And so you cannot, the Court of Appeal didn't tell him to go back to office and sit down and not work. That would not be the position of the law. And so, depending on what some people want to hear, so everything he did. And that's why, in the same vein, when a governor is sacked by election tribunal, the law is even explicit. The Electoral Act is even explicit. He can appeal, and the moment you appeal, that judgment of the tribunal is stayed, and every other thing he did in office will be presumed to be regular in the eye of the law, except the Court of Appeal expressly makes a pronouncement saying that everything he did was irregular, like in some cases where some members of parliament are suspended, and the Court of Appeal will say that he should refund all the salaries that he had collected. Okay. That's the only ground upon which you can say the court invalidated every decision he took. But otherwise, every decision he took, as at the time the court stayed that decision of the lower court when he was in office, was presumed to be regular in the eye of the law.
Okay. Well, thank you, Libros. These are legal opinions. Now let's go to your general opinions as to how this whole matter is going to work out in Edo State, moving forward into the business of the day or of the time, which is Governor Obaseki has not given up his aspiration to get another term. APC, the way I am reading it, they seem really pretty confident that we don't have a problem in this election. Well, yeah, that's not the way the governor is seeing it. The governor thinks that the people are behind him and that, he won't have a problem wherever he goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, politicians always talk confidently. They give the impression that everybody is behind them. Why the APC will tell you that, yes, Yamu, they are candidates, or that whoever emerge, that they are solidly on ground, because there are some people also who are not happy, including some members of the APC, who are not happy with the governor's style. And then the ordinary man on the street also, some of them who are also not happy with the pace of infrastructural development in the state. There are some who also are with the governor who have benefited, in terms of either infrastructure or true employment, who also will support the governor to say, yes, the man has performed and we want him to continue. And so it's a 50-50 thing.
Okay, one moment, Libros. Let's hear from the people. Sort of reactions. So that's what I meant. Reactions to the governor and his deputy, as it were, resigning the membership of APC.
The disqualification of Governor Godwin Obaseki from contesting in the All Progressives Congress governorship primaries by the screening committee is a subject of political interest to Nigerians. The development had thrown up various reactions within and outside the state, with some youth staging a protest calling for peace in the state. The governor has resigned from the APC, with his deputy taking the same decision.
It has shown that Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole wants to return us back to Egypt. He wants to return us back to the dark days. Hence, Comrade Adams Oshomole today is eating his vomit. We will not join him to eat our vomit, and that is why we must move on. I resign today with pain, but I am resigning to take my destiny in my hand, and by the grace of God, where Obaseki go, I go, and by the grace of God, we shall conquer.
These resignations have once again sparked up series of reactions from political actors in Edo State.
He failed us, both as a governor and both as a party man. He was a baggage that everybody was willing and ready to offload. And now that he offloaded himself, it is just to wish him goodbye.
Go around Benin City, go around Esan, go around Edo North. Everybody is speaking with one voice. Where he goes, we go. So the platform will naturally emerge, and all the governor's followers across party lines, across party divides, across religious lines, across socio-economic divides, they are moving en masse with the governor to whatever platform he's going to choose.
We are grateful to God that he made that pronouncement right within the villa. At least the president can now know better the kind of man he has been, because he has never had respect for any authority.
The decision of the governor and his deputies suggests that the APC has lost the only state it controls in the South-South region, further heightening speculations of a move to the People's Democratic Party, even though that has not been confirmed yet. Paul Ezenwa, TVC News, Benin.
Well, I suppose there you have it.
It's going to be a tough battle in Edo. So it's better the governor make up his mind.
Well, even before we get to that stage, yes, which is very, very important, because the 22nd, I believe, June 22nd is the primary.
For APC.
It's for APC primaries.
And
now,
the 19th and 20th for PDP.
Now the governor is not concerned with the 22nd date anymore.
Yes. So
we don't even know if he's concerned with the 19th date.
Or the 20th.
Or the 19th or 20th day, because he has said that I've not made up my mind. But as our analyst, Libros, was saying,
yes,
we have a very good idea. Even if we can't be categorical, we have a very, very good idea.
Don't forget, he was even going around to see the PDP governors in Rivers. He went to Rivers, he went to Akwa Ibom, and so he's already showing where he wants to go, but it's left for him to make it official as, okay, yes, this is where I want me and my supporters, including the deputy, this is where we are going to, anchor our own boats.
We'll see how it goes, because power has shifted to a different party now, the ruling party. As a result, well, first of all, if he hasn't determined where he's going now, and he's no more of APC, how do you refer to him as a governor in Edo?
No, he's still a governor.
Yeah, I know.
The only thing that has changed
is he an APC governor?
No, he's no more APC.
So he's a what governor?
He will now be whatever party he has decided.
So as of now, how would you refer to Governor Obaseki?
So Governor, no party for now, because he doesn't have a party.
Governor Obaseki of a party yet to be determined.
Exactly.
So I think they're telling us to go to break.
Okay.
Please, so Libros, when we come back, we'll revert to you. Okay, welcome back. And well, as I was saying just before we went away, newsmen have a way of addressing people. You remember when we used to talk about MKO, the man widely presumed to have won
exactly.
So now this governor is going to be Governor Godwin Obaseki of a party yet to be determined, or Governor Obaseki, who won the party, who won the election on the platform of APC.
I think that one is going to be a little bit confusing. That is why the governor has to make up his mind so quick, so that it doesn't turn to another legal battle. But I heard Mr. Barrister Wale Ugwade is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you, my brother?
Okay. Now, good morning. There seems to be a little bit of confusion. What are we going to be calling Governor Obaseki now that he has decided he's no more in APC and he has not even made up his mind which party he's going to go to?
Yeah, he's still a governor.
Okay.
the Constitution gives the right and the enablement and the ability to continue to be a governor. Unfortunately, that aspect of the political office has not been talked about and was not addressed seriously by the Constitution. It's only the members of the House of Reps or those of the House of Assembly or the senators that, particularly Section 169, I guess, deals with it about when the carpet cross. I guess Section G, when there is a disagreement or there is infighting between political parties or within a political party. But in this situation, it has not been addressed frontally, and you know that he is not the first person who will be taking this type of a step. Rocha Okorocha took that step. What was it now? Even Autumn. Is it Autumn now, the governor of Benue State?
Benue, yes.
Benue State. So obviously that's what they have the leeway of going on.
Hello, Barrister. I think we've lost connection.
Have we lost the connection? I don't know. Maybe it's really...
Libros, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you use the incumbency?
Okay. I think
Wale is back.
Wale is back. Okay.
They can use the incumbency factor to use it. Like before even this issue came to the fore, we saw that Obaseki was trying to use the law, the COVID law now, to restrict gatherings in terms of those that will be in a place and so on and so forth. And of course, even before this time, he wanted to use the state law to ban his chairman and co. So they will use power, and we want to see, you see, to us in the civil society and of course the legal and those of us who are involved in elections and electoral activities, all these are issues that we are looking into. And of course, if not for COVID, you know that our group wants to look at the constitution holistically, particularly issues of elections and fiscal office holders, to see how we can fine-tune it and remove all these charlatans and all these loopholes that the politicians, government and people have taken to the detriment of the people.
Where are charlatans? Where are the charlatans? Let it not be like that airline. Let it not be like that airline that had to be apologizing to Naira Marley.
Myself, it's a charlatan that will come on the platform of the political party and will not want to see how we can move and work for the people and even accommodate your the
party members,
the various tendencies. You are all birds of strange bedfellows who have come together. You are not birds of the same feathers. You came together, and it is for the common good of the good. Of the good of the people, and that's why in the civil society again there's this cliché that when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. And you know the people now are the ones that are given the short end of the stick. The man has defected, so he's partyless. Within the time that is there, the whole situation now is like a ship without a captain. It's rudderless. And to us, it doesn't augur well for democracy. It does not augur well for sustainability, transparency, and above all, moral accountability.
So
thank you, my brother.
So, what does it tell you about the Nigerian politicians, especially when once you know that you are in a particular party, the next thing with their own ideology, the next thing you are saying you are moving to another party with a different ideology, and then Nigerians are always complaining that things are not better. They will be the ones to say, fine, let him go. Because the social media is always awash with things like that. So we are just being confused. Is it that we are confused as followers? Because let me use that word. We are confused as followers as to what the politicians are always bringing up.
Yes, we are confused because the followers have no say per se, as it were, because we have people who have already cornered the political process, the political machinery, and they have the funds to build it big. As we talk, there are more than 90 political parties in Nigeria, but we only hear about 3 or 4. 2 major ones, maybe 1 or 2 in some obscure places. Why? Because these people have the capacity, they have the wherewithal to buy up the political and set up political structure. And once that is done, that's all. Or people will just follow, because again, in Nigeria, you cannot, by virtue of Section 222 of the Constitution, you cannot contest for an election except under a political party. And they are owners of political parties. Don't forget, Babangida in the 1990s said that he set up SDP and NLC. NRC. And he said that all of them, they are joiners, no founders. But we all knew again it was a lie, because the enemies of this world, and who is he now, and the
Tommy Kimmy and co.
And they all took over the political machinery of the party then. So till now, we still have godfathers and we have political gladiators. So telling us that you want to uproot godfatherism and that the people have a say is a tall order. I'm talking from somebody who is inside. Exactly. I relate with voters and I know what they go through. At the end of the day, no matter how strong the voters is, when the political landlord, the godfathers, doles out money, you see voters screaming, killing themselves, struggling to ensure that they get, even if it's just 1,000 naira, 500 naira in the bread, just to get that money. And at the end of the day, they vote for those who have given all their stomach. And you remember Fayoshe telling us about stomach infrastructure.
Okay,
So
Wale, 1 second, Wale. One moment, Wale. To return to the matter of, the very important matter of the primaries of APC, which has been set anyway, that has been set for the 22nd. The incumbent governor is no more part of that by his own hand. It started off, of course, by the party's hand, his former party's chairman's hand. Now he himself has, underlined that by speaking on the steps of Aso Rock and saying that I've just done this. But he still is the governor, as I was saying, a governor elected on the platform of APC. Now he's not friends with APC anymore. People think that in Nigeria, when you have a situation like that, now that he doesn't have any allegiance to APC, things might not be going on in the time that remains for him, to really concern himself with the APC, with the assets within the state and all of that kind of a thing. Your quick thoughts on that, so that I can also take Libros's thoughts on it. The whole matter of how he will now be running the affairs, because now APC, that actually did all the work for him to be governor, now their assets, at least assets in trust for the people under the watch of APC, have suddenly gone onto the watch of nobody. And that is a no man's land sort of a place. Unfortunately, there's well, Libros, did you hear my question?
Yes, I heard your question.
Okay. Now that the authority in Edo State is in a sort of a no man's land kind of a place, what does this portend? Because the power of incumbency is not a small power.
Yes, you find out that this is a lacuna. It's a very big lacuna in our law. If you look at Section 188 of the Constitution, it talks about how a governor can be removed from office, and the defection to another party is not one of such conditions. We had opportunity to address that issue when some governors elected on the platform of PDP, Amechi, if you can remember, Amechi and co, and some senators, Danjuma Goje and co, defected from PDP to APC. The matter went to court. One would have thought that we allow the courts take a bite on that matter and give a decision one way or the other, just the same way the court ruled in Amechi's case that the mandate belongs to the party. But typical of some senior advocate, that case was warehoused. And so the court could not eventually deliver judgment on that matter one way or the other until election decided their fate. So it became an academic exercise. If the court had ruled one way or the other when a governor defects, then by today we would know for sure that, okay, yes, this is what should happen.
So it's still a gray area. I've got to bring on Yakub now, who has called in. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning, Azikwa. And then, good morning, Barrister. Good morning, sir. You see, for me, I think the governor has never done something well, and then has never done something right. What is that has never done right is that, if you remember, this is a governor in this country that has never seen that inaugurate the House of Assembly at midnight, and then he makes sure that out of 22 or 23, if I'm correct, 9 members inaugurated.
26.
And up to today, he has never accepted the remaining member of that House of Assembly to come in, to become a member. It deprived the people that those people representing in that House of Assembly.
Yeah, but he has now resigned to those very people.
I want to put a question to Lebros. The Oshiomhole, he remains
that one is our job,
I think, from the world.
Mr. Yakub, Mr. Yakub, that one is our job. You putting question. How can you be putting question to Libros? Okay, thank you very much. Oh yeah, put the question quick.
Yes, is it possible for the party in the state now that the Supreme Court now said that he remains suspension? Is it possible for the world in that state to lift up that suspension and then Oshiomhole becomes substantive national party chairman again? Is it possible?
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anchor Yakub. Thank you very much. You have put the question to Libros.
Yes, the party can lift that suspension. It is the word the party members have. Even that suspension, from what I heard, is questionable. Out of 24 members, only 7 sat and issued a suspension. And the members can still sit down and lift the suspension that was imposed. And so once that is done, that's a political solution to it. And then also legal solution, I learned also that application appeal had been filed and application for stay of execution also filed. And so, like the Court of Appeal did pronounce, the Supreme Court also can stay the application of the execution of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, and thereafter, return, the matters to status quo.
Okay.
So once all of these are done, you'll be back to the position we were before yesterday. So it's not just here to huru for any camp.
But
that's why I say
as for the matter
of marathon.
As for the matter of resignation, that train has left the station. You can't get him to withdraw. You can't get him to withdraw that resignation.
No, as for the matter of resignation and screening, the matter of screening, taking it from the matter of screening. Uncle Yori, really, I wish every political party will screen its candidate the way APC screened Obaseki. You will know the moment every political party in Nigeria begins to screen candidates the way APC screened Obaseki, most of these people that my learned senior Ogwade referred to as charlatans will leave the political space. A situation where you know that your credentials, there are conflicting discrepancies, defective credentials. And that's why the worst of us are ruling the best of us.
Okay, Wale, you wanted to add to that, Wale Ogunade, you wanted to. I hear you wanted to add to that. Libros, I think you mentioned Wale, and I think he wants to add to it.
No, let me just quickly permit.
Libros,
if somebody had told David Lyon that he will not be sworn in on the eve of his swearing in, he wouldn't have believed. Exactly. But it was credentials that caused all of those issues. So let us begin. I think we should encourage political parties to begin to screen their candidates the way APC screened Obaseki.
Okay.
So that we can have people.
I hear you, Libros. Libros, come me some slack, please. I got to bring in Mazi Okoroafo. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Tukwa. Now, Mr. There are 3 things we have to look into on this issue of Obaseki. One, where was Obaseki coming from? That's from the word go when he started the politics of buying the phone. That's first thing of from where? How did he get the money and the rest? That's number 1. Number 2, just let him wait for Senate for 2023. That's the number 3. What kills Obaseki was that when they raised the issue of 3 credits and 2 passes. Now, you know that for you to go to university, you have to get at least 5 credits. Mathematics and English, either WAEC or NECO or NAPTEP. But when this issue of certificate issue come up, that APC have been facing that problem of certificate racketeering, certificate of other body or not complete. So this is the major thing that you should go back. To me, I'll tell him, let him take the money he has now, go and settle that. Let him not jump to any political party to go and do politics of prostitution. If he goes there, EFCC, they are waiting for him. Not only EFCC, he will end up squandering the little money he has got for now for it to done as that. Let him just forget about going to jump to another party. It's a risky game.
Okay, it will be lawyers.
It
will be lawyers that will chop, as you are putting it. It is the same lawyers that will now chop the money because he will require legal defense once PDP gets in on the act. I don't know why people think that we use instruments like this. Why are people taking it for granted that the EFCC can be deployed as a weapon?
Anyhow,
EFCC cannot be weaponized.
Yes,
or how say you lawyers?
If there are no petitions,
which one of you lawyers wants to comment on that?
If there are no petitions,
can EFCC be weaponized in that form?
The EFCC is not there. This is not an issue for EFCC. It's
No,
a simple thing.
You heard the theory of Mazi. You heard the theory of Mazi.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to educate the people.
Okay.
You see, this is a post-election issue, and issues like this are within the purview of INEC and even the courts particularly. And what needs to be done is for INEC now, having seen what happened in Bayelsa, they too have learned a lesson.
Okay.
Even if APC put to screen, INEC will do the necessary screening. Don't forget that Obaseki's issue, this issue came up in the 2016 general elections, which maybe when they went to court, but eventually overtook it, and of course was not in the fall. But I can assure you that what happened in Bayelsa has thrown the issue of screening candidates, looking at their background, and even doing a background test on them.
Okay.
Because we promoted it to INEC that they should check out background, go to the various schools that these people went, the institutions that they went, organizations like NYSC, to confirm if indeed they partook and did one or two things with them. So that it's not that just as I said, people who have no pedigree, people who have no background, who have nothing, will just throw themselves on us.
I hear you, and thank you very much, Wale. I hear you, but it's interesting. There will be those observers that will also remember that, look, these kind of things come up only when, how do you say in English, Ijalode Lonidowe?
It's a language.
Because this is a guy, this Libros, this is a guy who was cool. Everybody they were down together. But now that the whole matter has turned the way it has turned, now we're beginning to look for the I at the end of a name that has suddenly gone missing. We're talking about possibly weaponizing EFCC. Wale, nimbly sidestep that whole issue. By the way, would you like to confront whether or not EFCC can be weaponized?
No, EFCC cannot be weaponized, but the problem is that there's this perception that every public officer will dip their hands into the cookie jar. And so, once they leave, there is need for the Economic and Financial Crime Agency to scrutinize.
Okay, so we can either look the other way, or if your matter requires it, we can then bring the microscope to your matter.
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
Ada in Jos. Ada in Jos. Good morning, ma'am.
Ada from Jos.
Okay, Ada.
Please, please, mine is an appeal. And the appeal is to the Ninth Assembly. Let them work on that electoral reform, make more impulse like having a independent candidature, and then get Mr. President to get it signed into law. If not, what is happening, the kind of electoral process we have now is nothing to write home about. Honestly speaking, if they don't do anything about it, we're going to have the 2023 elections will be worse than the 2019 election, as far as I'm concerned. But now, the energy they are using to dissipate on infectious let them use it on getting this electoral process. So we can electoral process. It's becoming
okay.
This idea of people defecting wildlife.
Okay, the phone is one kind, but we heard you loud and clear.
Yeah, independence candidacy, that's what she's asking for.
Well, that is, let there be electoral reform.
Yes.
And, there's actually a committee for electoral reform in existence. So people have long been crying for this, but...
Look, I think there are so many things that we need to add.
So many things, and it's not a simple affair.
Yeah, exactly.
All sorts of calculations go into it. It's just like when we want to do a census in this country. It's not as straightforward as just begin to count 1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
All sorts of things come into the whole matter again, which is, I'm sure Wale will be interested in that whole matter of electoral reform. Well, all Nigerians are, as a matter of fact. Paul in Bob in Jos. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like our political environment or our political matters in this country is becoming unbecoming. I think we have to really get it right. You can't be messing ourselves up as a country. You are something, we call ourselves, we cannot be able to lead other country and set an example to them. You understand me? See the way we are messing ourselves up. Educational level, we are messing ourselves. Political level, we are messing ourselves. So do we continue in this way? I think this time around is where we are seeing it in a very different way. We have seen the politics in the past, where Shagari was in government. We have not had it so rough like this. You understand me? Why are we messing ourselves up?
Okay.
Especially on this educational issue.
Well,
we kept on having governors that have certificate issue.
There is so much more that you could say. Bob, I'm sorry I got to interrupt because we've run out of time, but thank you very much for calling in from from Jos. That was where I also called in from. And the same krum was coming out in the call. We thank you both indeed, and Mazi and other people who have called in as well. And most importantly, we thank our analysts that are online, that is on Skype, Wale Ogunade
and Libros
Oshama. We've completely run out of time, gentlemen, but we really appreciate your coming on and helping us sort of understand this whole matter a bit better. I don't know if we did understand it a bit better, because if we had 2 hours more, we could keep on talking about this. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That's our program. So Asukwo and I, we say stay safe. Bye-bye for now. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition.